Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always. And it's a beautiful sunny spring day in St. Louis, Missouri today. Hope it's wonderful wherever you are in the world. And today's topic is going to be inspiration. I'm going to read out of my new book, The Power is Within. And that is where the power's at. It's in each and every one of us. The power of God or divinity or whatever you want to call it, higher self, is within each and every one of us and in everything that exists. Everything is energy. Everything is moving, is alive. Even that rock you see out in your yard, that is alive too. It is a form of consciousness. Yes, I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. Science is even proving that now. What the mystics said 2,000 years ago, that everything is alive, everything has God, if you like, within it. So, and I'm not a religious man. I don't endorse or oppose any religions, okay? But many religions have good points and they all point to the same direction, most of them anyway. It's all about learning to love. And I don't mean love like in a romantic sort of way. Love is a verb. It's like action. You can make acts of love or do acts of love without actually feeling like you're in love with the person or thing that you're doing actions of love towards, whether it be a dog, a cat, a house. If you love your house, you take care of it. It's an action. If you love your wife or your husband, you take care of them. It's an action, even if you don't feel like it. Now that's the kind of love I'm talking about. The love of a brother, the love of a soldier who gives his life for his soldiers because he loves his fellow soldiers. He sacrifices his life to save them, or he sacrifices his life for his country, for his beliefs, so his family, his wife, and his children can be safe and have a good life. There was a news article, someone sent me a meme, I think they call it, and I wanted to post it, but I'm not sure what I can post and what I can't. I want to comply with YouTube's guidelines. But this woman said that at the end of the day, most women are, no, she says more women are more powerful and happier at the end of the day than most men. And she also made the statement, this may not be verbatim, that she believed that most men would rather give up their children than their cars. I mean, clearly she was acting or speaking on emotions. She must be angry with a man somewhere, because throughout centuries, since the beginning of time, men have sacrificed their lives, their health, everything, so their women and their children could live and be safe. So this was I don't know if she's a famous newscaster, but she's a well-known newscaster. And that's actually what she said. Most men would rather give up their children than their car. Where does she get this from? It's based purely on emotion and maybe her personal experience because, as I said, look at the Titanic, look at World War II. How many men willingly died so their family and their children and their friends and the people who were not able to fight could be safe and live a life of freedom? That's the facts, okay? Anyway, we'll move on from that. We want to talk about inspiration here. All right, Chapter 1, The Power is Within by, yes, me, Mark Daniels. The unseen power. Can you see the wind? No, you can't. Can you see gravity? No, you can't. You can only see the effects, but yet you believe in that power. Think about that. Let's go. As soon as I clicked publish on Coming Back Home, The True Adventures of Mark Daniels, yes, that was my first book, I knew I would write another book. People who had read it would ask, and I would tell them yes, though I had a completely different one in mind. I would tell them about the romance novel I intended to write. I knew they were very popular, and with the vast experience I've had with women throughout the years, both bad and good, I felt sure it would be a bestseller. But every time I sat down to write, the words just wouldn't come. This surprised me after the relative ease with which I wrote my first book. After a few false starts, I realized why. I lost my place. Every time I sat down to write, the words just wouldn't come. This surprised me after the relative ease with which I wrote my first book. After a few false starts, I realized why. I'm repeating, I lost my spot. Okay. I was trying to write a book for the purpose of selling copies rather than providing value. Always think of the value you're going to put out there in the world, and value will return to you. I asked my higher self, God, the divinity, or whatever name you give to the being that orders the energies of the universe, what should I write? The answer was immediate. Write something of value that you know something about. That made sense. It's easy to write about something you know, and when things come easy, they tend to also be at their most valuable. Clearly then, one subject stood above the rest. If you've read Coming Back Home, you'll know I've been studying metaphysical spiritual principles for the last 30 years and have experienced both the benefits and consequences when used for selfish reasons. Those benefits can rank among the most fulfilling moments of your life, and the consequences are often the most painful, but they're also always educational. That's the only way to grow in any realm, and the spiritual is no different. All the most renowned mystics throughout history had to endure some of the most difficult setbacks on their journeys to enlightenment. If you want to be enlightened, as they call it, I think everybody is enlightened to certain degrees. And it depends what you consider enlightenment. I think you can always be more enlightened. I know I can be. The more I learn about enlightenment, I don't like to use that word because it sounds like you're exalting yourself above others. I'm not doing that. There are many, many people out there who know so much more than I do about this because I read their books, I listen to what they have to say, I search them out, and I study them. Okay, but even those people, they are not the most enlightened in the world. Probably the most enlightened people in the world we don't even know about. No one knows they're enlightened, maybe a few. They don't really want anyone to know them. But the point is, all you have to do is keep an open mind. Never shut your mind out to any possibility. If we had done that as a race, we wouldn't be flying all over the world today. We wouldn't have cell phones. Always keep your mind open. Contempt before investigation keeps a man in everlasting ignorance. That's a quote from Herbert Spencer. So when I wrote this book, it was my hope and desire that it would help someone to open their mind to the possibilities that lie within each of us. We are limitless, only limited by the limits we put upon ourselves or that we accept from society or programming, or from our parents or whoever tells us we can't do something. The word impossible should be taken out of the dictionary or changed to just possible and take off the M. The original word is possible. The M means it can't be done. How many things have been done since you have been living, if you think about it, that were thought to be impossible? When I was a kid, the idea that I could click a phone and look at someone on the other side of the world in China or the Philippines or Russia or wherever and actually talk to them, that was Buck Rogers stuff. I don't know if any of you know Buck Rogers, but he was a cartoon character, okay? Or maybe even a movie character, I don't remember. But anyway, he was like some advanced character in the movies or cartoons, whatever it was, spaceship stuff. And aliens and different things like that, which was, in my day, thought to be impossible. And we first went to the moon when I was a kid. Some people believe that never happened. I don't know whether it did or not. The point is, anything is possible if you believe it is, but you have to believe it. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill, and that's so true. So do not have contempt before investigation. Don't block it out of your mind like it's impossible, because everything is possible if you have faith or belief. I don't like to use the word faith because people start thinking of religion. And as I said, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in the teachings of the great mystics, Jesus and Muhammad, and there are many other ones there, Buddha, Krishna. I've read the Vedas, the Upanishads, I think they're called. Those different teachings, the Hermetica, there's many of them. I won't list them all now. Okay, so let's continue. All right. Am I claiming to be enlightened? Then you might be asking. I would suggest you ask the same about yourself. You're the only one that can answer that for you, just as I am the only one who can answer it for me. To answer directly, yes, I am enlightened, though probably not in the way you think. I mean, we tend to incorrectly look at enlightenment as if it were some great high thing to achieve. In reality, everyone is at the same time already enlightened, and being enlightened, they have achieved enlightenment and are also still achieving it. Enlightenment is not something that you either have or don't have. It's something that you have and don't have, always gaining it, but never fully reaching its highest state. In that sense, there has never been anyone that was enlightened, nor anyone that fully was. As long as we are here on the planet Earth and living, we are enlightened. This leads to another, perhaps more controversial fact. We are all perfect. Yes, I know. And some people talk about this being a fallen world, and it's not going to be okay until Jesus or God or whoever comes back and makes it okay. I say this world is a perfect place for spiritual or metaphysical growth. Without the controversy and the contrast of what goes on here in the world, there would be no reason to look within ourselves to grow, to try to change, to try to advance ourselves spiritually or metaphysically. Okay. Now, I said we are all perfect. That can't be true, Mark, you say. What about Joe down the street? He's an alcoholic, he beats his wife, and is mean to his kids. How can you say that man is perfect? Let me ask you this, friend. When is a rose perfect? Only when it is in full bloom? And for that matter, how do you or I know exactly when full bloom is? At what moment does the bloom peak, and after which begin to wane? Can you point it out? And how long does full bloom last? When is drunk Joe's full bloom? When he sobers up? When he quits beating his wife? When he stops being mean to his kids? But even when he gives up those behaviors, won't he still have more improvements to make? Joe is like that rosebud, perfect in its current stage of enlightenment. And when he blooms, he'll be perfect then too. The perfect rose cannot exist without first being a perfect bud, just as the butterfly cannot come except from a caterpillar. Maybe Joe is not beautiful yet in our eyes, but that is not a reflection on Joe, but on our own perception of Joe. Everything in life is perception. How you perceive things to be is filtered through your experiences of your life. You see and hear and experience everything through the filters you have gained or acquired throughout your life. And I got to stop on that because I am out of time. We will continue with this tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day and smash that like button and subscribe. See you later.